Holy shit, you're going to love this conversation. I had such a great conversation with Anja. You're going to freaking love it. Oh my God. So she drops so many gems, guys, so many gems on personal development and mindset and overcoming and what people pleasing is. And I mean, it was so good. It was so freaking good. And I'm not even joking. It's so good. All right. I want you to watch this episode. If you are someone who is feeling like, I'm kind of stuck. I don't know where I want to go. I kind of want to, self-care, but is it selfish to be that way? And what do I do with this? How do I get going? And this is for you. This episode, that's for you. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and shut up because you got to watch this. So good. Here we go. What's up, everybody? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. And I freaking love this podcast. I love everything about it because I have the best freaking people come on this show and inspire you and help you grow and challenge your thinking. And there's nothing more in life that I want than to expand and grow who I am. And I love the humans that I find because they are just amazing human beings. And this is no exception, y'all. We have Anja Cucinotta here. I hope I said that right. She's a speaker and a coach specializing in personal empowerment and self-confidence. So since 2013, Anja has helped over 12,000 clients globally step into their power and embrace their happiness. So Anja's journey is one of resilience and transformation. And despite the highly successful 30-year career in a financial industry, Anja, a single mother to Luca, right? Luca has faced significant challenges, including job losses, depression, divorce, trauma. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys know what we're talking about because this is something that many of us go through in our lives. We get so many challenges. Now, she has trained as a master transformational coach, an NLP practitioner, a mindset trainer, like all of this great stuff that I just told you, that when we come together, we come to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. So can you think of anyone better than Anja to be here today? Thank you so much for hanging out with us today, Anja. I really appreciate you being here. How are you?
What a welcome, Neena. Wow. Anytime. What an honor to be here and to share a little bit of our journey with those who listen, to see where we can just maybe nudge them in just one degree on their own journeys to somehow transform from today to tomorrow, degree by degree.
Yeah, right? Degree by degree, step by step, moment by moment. I agree with that 1,000%. Before I got into personal development, I used to think it was all or nothing. Like you had to do everything right now or forget it, right? And then as I started to get into, NLP master practitioner and getting my life coach certification and getting all into the personal development stuff, I realized there is nothing in life, including that is done immediately. Everything is moment by moment. So Anja, I am really excited to have this conversation because these are the kind of conversations I love because they just like expand your mind, and that's always a good thing. So first, I want to introduce you even deeper to my audience. So I want to know a little bit more about you. Who are you, Anja? Who are you?
Wow, big question.
Yes.
Well, I am of German-Dutch descent. I grew up in Germany until the age of 20, then moved to London. It was not an easy childhood. I think there was a reason why I decided to leave the country. Not an easy growing up in a family that was not healthy, that was not a safe environment for me, which is something that you don't realize as you're growing up. But then, a lot of eye-opening learnings that I did over the years helped me really understand the dynamics and helped me heal, which is an ongoing journey. You don't heal or recover from trauma, but you learn to live with it and let it scar over. And then from London, I moved to Italy 22 years ago now. And the pivotal moment in my own career as a coach, as a transformational speaker, as a mindset trainer was when I got divorced. My husband and I separated when our son was just a year old. And I really had that moment of choice. I could be a victim or a victor. You can't have it both ways.
Right.
I didn't want the responsibility for my life. I wanted to blame him. I wanted to point fingers. I wanted people to say, oh, poor little Anja. And I could have had that. But I realized in that moment, okay, my life is 100% up to me. And I hated it.
Mm,
Then
mm.
I realized, oh, but hang on a second. If it's 100% up to me, then it's 100% up to me.
I love
That's
that
the
so
Luca.
much. I love that so much, Anya. So, talk to me about that though. Was that something that had you already started, like this journey of personal development and learning to shift your mind like that, or was that something that just kind of came to you like an epiphany, like that moment? What was that for you?
I did have the support of a coach as I was figuring out what to do about my marriage, but I had not started my own journey. And it
Mm,
really was after that pivotal moment that I realized, okay, my world has got so small, just work and my 1-year-old son. I'm now ready to see what's out there. I'm ready to
right,
expand. And coincidence helped me find coaching because I had always considered myself an encourager. And now I realize that was the wrong term for me. I am not an encourager, I am an
right,
empowerer. Now I have the
right.
tools to do that.
Right. Oh, I love that so freaking much. I was literally just on a call a few minutes ago with one of my clients, and we were going through her "I help" statement, and I'm like, actually, it's not an "I help," it's an "I empower" statement. And
Yeah.
she's like, yeah. I was like, yeah. We don't just help; we're empowering people to empower themselves. There's a difference in words. There's something that happens when you start using the right language for what you're doing, right, Anya? Like you said, and you just, I mean, you speak in my language, right? You could have been a victim or a victor. There's a difference, right? And the language is powerful because if you would have stayed in the lane of being a victim, you're right. Many people, Anya, would have been okay with that, actually, right? And probably would have said, "Oh, dear Anya," right? Because most people, not all, but most people who haven't maybe gone after the things they want or have shifted their mindset don't understand when somebody's not a victim, right? And a lot of what's happened, I think, and you can agree with me or disagree with me, is in this world of social media, a lot of people are victims. I mean, for goodness sakes, people now videotape themselves crying hysterically over things happening to them to be a victim so that people can go, "Oh, poor you." Right. And I think actually that's detrimental for that person to post that. I think that person should be able to regulate themselves, think about what's happening, and then come out as the victor and say, "Look, this is what happened to me, but this is how I overcame it." Do you agree with that? Or what do you think?
I absolutely do. And I think there's two parts to this. To what you say, that it's so much easier to be a victim and it's so nice to, get all that
Yeah,
attention.
it is
And I think
nice.
it's partly because people don't know how to use your mind, how to use your language to
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
responsibility and take yourself to the next level. So it's about not knowing how, but it's also about not wanting to. It's
Mhm.
uncomfortable. It's much
Mhm.
easier to point fingers. You can just stay where you are. It's not your fault. And when it's not your fault, it's not your responsibility. And when it's not your responsibility, well, hey, there's nothing you can do about it. So you can
I
stay
love
where
it.
you are, right?
Right. I couldn't agree more. I mean, listen, I was there for a long time. When my first husband, left me and my kids for a much younger model, and I'm here with two boys now. Shoot. Then he went to the bank, took every dime, left me with no money. Right. So I was definitely feeling like a victim there, Anya, let me tell you. So I went into this deep depression. I went into a very deep depression, was barely functioning. I mean, I had to work because I had 14-hour shifts I had to complete in order to pay the bills for my kids because he wasn't doing it. And so, it was a very tough time. And I wanted to stay a victim. I really did, you know. But I couldn't. There's something in me, Anya, that just won't allow it. It just won't allow it. And I don't know. Do you think that's built in us, Anya? Do you think that's built in us, or do you think that's something that we can learn and cultivate in our lives? What do you think about that mentality of putting your bootstraps on and just keep it moving? Like, what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, Nina, really kudos to you for your incredible strength, for the example that you are to us, for what it means to get up again, what it means to be a victor. So
Thank you.
really hat off to you. And I love what you said, that you couldn't stay down. And that question that you asked is really spot on, because I believe today, I'm 54 years old, so I have a lot of history already behind me, that there is a part of me that whatever you went through is unbreakable,
Yeah.
unreachable. People
Yeah.
might want to destroy it and they will not be able to.
Right.
Because I believe that the dream that was put in you, the skills, the talents that were put in you, there is something sacred about who you are, the essence of who you are. And
Mm-hmm.
there is a sentence that really got me and lit a fire under my bottom, which said, with regards to getting up again, keeping going, making it happen, imagine it's the last day of your life and the person you are meets the person you could have become.
Oof.
Yeah, right?
Oh, that's a good. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That is a good one, Anya. Wow, you have to sit with that for a minute, don't
Yeah,
you?
you really
Because
do.
you really
It's
do.
a
Because
big one.
yeah, that's a big one. And that's I did a podcast a long time ago, monologue, and it was called "What's Your Dash?" And I was talking about, you know, I was looking at a tombstone. I had gone to, see my grandparents. They had passed away. I was looking at their tombstone, and I saw the date of birth dash date of date of passing. And I'm like, what's your dash? What's the in between? Right? What does that mean? Because and that's what did it for me, because when I saw that, I'm like, holy crap, wait a minute. Am I just two dates? The date of birth and the date of ending? Or am I something in between? What is that? Right? That in between piece where we can impact somebody's life, Anya, right? Because what you've been through with the divorce and everything, what I've been through with the divorce and everything, at some point, we have got to take the things that have tried to destroy us, and we have got to A, rebuild ourselves, and then B, rebuild someone. Because I feel like our lives are never for ourselves. I feel like our stories are never for our story. It's always to impact the life of others. Do you believe that?
I absolutely do. And I want to be careful with the word we have to, because we can choose
Oh,
not
yeah,
to.
of
You know,
course. We absolutely can. You're absolutely right.
but I do agree that it's a responsibility. And I
Yes.
agree that our gifts, our talents, and our experiences, our life story is always for a purpose that is greater than ourselves. And that's where we feel that we are living our purpose, our mission, that our life makes sense when there is some other life that we impact. And this can be hundreds and thousands of people on stages, or it can be your children, your
Right.
mother, your neighbor.
Yes.
Your
Agreed.
impact, it is not a question of scale. The impact that you make can be on one life, and that is a life well lived. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's different levels, different impact, different sizes for different people, but your life does matter to somebody.
Yes, it
Your
does.
story is inspirational to others. And especially as mothers, I want to also add that our responsibility to our sons is to show our young men what it means, first of all, to love yourself. What does
Mhm.
self love look like? Self
Mhm.
care. As mothers, we tend to put ourselves last, and I'm a huge advocate of saying that's the wrong way around. Take care of yourself first. Of course, when our kids are small, it all goes within degrees, but the better you are at looking after yourself, the more resources you have, the
Yeah.
stronger you are, the better you can love them. And
Yeah.
also, especially for mothers of boys, we teach them how to treat women by
Mhm.
how we treat ourselves.
100%. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. And thank you for correcting me, because you're absolutely right. We don't have to. And I say have to because I'm speaking about the deepness of what it is to me. And I honestly even had to change that to I get to. I honestly had to change that to I get to, because I feel like when I was going through the hardships, the only thing that got me through was gratitude. I got to wake up that day. I got to uh borrowed breath, right? It's borrowed. It's like all of this in life is borrowed, and we are not here for, we don't know. And we're not even promised tomorrow or later today. So that's why speaking to you right now is so important to me, because this is a connection that you and I are making, and 100,000 plus people are listening to, right? That can help them connect and understand that being present is so important. And I mean being present with you too, and present with your body, with your reactions, with your feelings. If you're depressed, okay, that you can say that. I am feeling a little bit down right now. This is what I'm going through, but I promise you, you don't have to stay there. I promise you, you get to move forward from that. Right, Anya? So, how do you help someone that comes to you, right? Because I want to dig into what it is you do, right? So let's dig into that. I want to know what your ideal client is. Who is it that comes to you? What is the process of that when they come to you?
It's a great question. And I just want to add quickly about gratitude. It is a game changer. The
Yes, it
practice of
is.
gratitude, whether you're in depression, whether you feel unhappy, whether you feel low, what you don't feel content, do the practice of gratitude. Find
Yes.
3 new things every day to say thank you for, little or small, little or big, and it will transform your life
Yes.
experience. So I'm a huge advocate. It's one of the greatest tools that we have for happiness. Now, my ideal client is a woman between her 30s and her 50s, more or less, a career woman typically, and a woman who has lost her way a little bit. So she's got a certain stage in her own career. She's usually a mother, but not always. And she knows that, like we know as well, there's a lot more inside of her. There's a lot more potential. There's a lot more she can give. There's a lot more she can shine. And she
Yes.
somehow doesn't. She doesn't ask for what she wants. She doesn't really know what she wants. She doesn't get the support she wants because she's not in line with her own value of who she is and her set of values, her priorities. And when
Love
you are not
that.
in line, when you're not quite sure about what it is you really want and who you really are and what's really important to you, then it's really hard to live in a flow way, right?
Mhm,
Because
mhm.
you're kind of limping around, but you don't know where you're going and why you're going there. If you don't know your why and what you are worth, that's why you come to me.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
love
I
that.
say that's why I say in my coaching journey that to empower you to confidently step into your happiness, because it does take confidence. Again, it goes back to what we said earlier. It's much easier not to. You have to take that step to decide this is now about me. I am taking myself forward. I am the priority. I
Right,
want to step into my destiny.
right. And Anya, I think what the women who was listening is like, yeah, yeah, I want to. Here comes the fear of, am I selfish? Right? Is this the
Oh,
wrong thing? Especially, I work a lot with women who are, spiritual, like Christians and stuff like that. So they always feel like that's the wrong approach because oh, that's really selfish. That's not spiritual. That's not right. But that's not true. You have to take care of yourself first, or you will not show up for anybody the way you'd like to, because you can't, because your cup is empty. Your cup is empty, right? Anya, so speak to that. Speak to that piece of someone who may be listening and saying, "No, that's a very selfish thing, Anya. How am I supposed to do that?" Talk to me about that.
that is a really good point. And we as girls, as women, we are growing up and taught to look after everybody else, to be
Yep.
nurturing, generous, kind, gentle. And it's a really big lie, the lie of selfishness. Because think about it. Who is the selfish person? Selfishness means I only want for me. I don't care about
Mhm.
you. I want it all for me.
Right.
I don't know many women who are selfish, who only want. So there's a big difference between selfishness and self-love.
Mhm,
Because
mhm.
self-love means I have love for people. Well, I am a people too, right? I'm a
Right.
person.
Right.
Why exclude me from this? If I want to be loving towards others, why put myself last? Why treat myself worse? And it is a big mindset shift, and it is quite controversial in our culture.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I totally get that hesitation. Oh, I feel guilty, I feel almost I shouldn't and spend that much money on myself. And absolutely, I get it. Make that distinction. Are you selfish? Do you want it all just for yourself? Is that the right label? Or are you
Right.
self full?
Right. Oh, so good. So good. I gotta find a microphone to drop around here because you are dropping some diamonds today. I love that so much. And that is so true. I encourage women, especially those who are listening, who are resonating with what you're saying, to really understand that if there's something that's like pulling you, there's a reason for that. Because I think you're right, Anya. At least I haven't been around too many women that are very selfish when it's all about them, right? It's usually about others, and they put themselves last when they don't realize that actually being helpful to others is putting yourself first, because when we are not healthy, when we don't feel well, when we're doing things begrudgingly, right? Because now we've overextended ourselves, put too much on our plate. Now we're pissed off that we did it. And
Yeah.
now, that person's expecting the best of you, but you can't even show up as the best of you because you are, you're spent. You are spent, right? And I think there's a big misconception of what that means to be selfish and to be loving yourself. So thank you for clarifying that, because I think that needs to be said. I think it needs to be said, right? And so they come to you, they're going through this journey. Anya, what does that look like? Do they stay with you for a period of time? Do you do this as a one-off? Do you take them through a methodology? Like, tell me about that.
Let me pick up first, if I may, Neena, on something you just mentioned, because this is another really important distinction that I think is important to share. You mentioned that, you give and you give and you give, and then you get pissed off.
Yeah.
So you get resentful, right?
Hmm.
So you
Hmm.
always have a choice. You either give more than you have and you get pissed off and resentful, or you stop giving and then you feel guilty that you didn't give.
Right.
You have a choice. You choose yourself, feeling guilty you didn't give any more, or you feel resentful to the other person because you gave more than you had. When you
Hmm.
have to make that choice, always choose guilt. It's much easier to deal with, much
Oh,
healthier, and it doesn't become toxic like resentment does.
wow. That's good. Yeah, I think that, but I like that you're saying, if you have to choose guilt, right? But then once you choose guilt, also analyze the guilt. Like, why are you feeling guilty to begin with? Because, what will happen then is then you can start to spiral. And I'm just going off, like the example we're using. But sometimes if you feel guilty all the time, then you can also spiral into that victimhood, right? So you have to pause, right, Anya? At the end of the day, it really is about self awareness. It really is. It's about checking yourself. Yeah, I used to say, you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? It's like you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself, because if you don't start just doing a little bit of a call, like, hey, what's going on there, Neen? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you feel bad about that? Is there something that you should feel bad about? I don't really see how you should feel bad about that. Let's analyze the truth here. What is the truth? Right? Because a lot of our programming is old programming. It's outdated. And so because our programming is outdated, sometimes we're running on old software and it doesn't work for where we are today in our lives. Right? Do you
I
agree?
love that because it also, that self awareness you mentioned, it gets us into connection with ourselves. It's okay, let's look inward. What is it that's going on with me? And instead of judging ourselves, just become
Yes.
curious. Just say, oh, that's interesting. Interesting
Hmm.
has no negative connotation. Oh, that's interesting. Just get curious. What is it that's going on? What's triggering me? What am I feeling? Because that too is self loving. It's self aware and it's self responsibility. So it's
Right.
all of that is in there when we start asking ourselves and paying more attention to what we are experiencing.
I love that. I'm sure that anybody who comes to talk to you is like, ooh, she's pushing my buttons. She's making me think. So tell me about that process. Like, because I want to know, for the women who are listening and who are like, yeah, Anya, I agree. And, uh, but I'm afraid, right? Like,
Yes,
what does this look like? I agree with you, but I'm kind of scared. Like, what is this scary? Like, what does this look like? So talk to us about your process, Anya.
I love that you say that it some women feel scared because it's absolutely true. Because now they
Yeah.
know who they are. Now they know what they've got. Once they start a coaching journey, what does that mean? Who am I going to be? Will my people still like me? Because you start
Right.
shifting the
I
balance.
went through that. Yeah, I went through that. I get it.
Yes. And the status quo is no longer going to stay just the same. And it's in the unknown, of course. You don't know exactly how you will transform. Now, I offer three different coaching journeys. One is very short with three coaching sessions over 6 weeks, which I've called stepping into my power. So this is a first experience if you want to really dip your toe and start to understand who you are, who you want to be, what's standing in the way, and what your vision is.
Oh,
Then a
beautiful.
3 month program is called Stepping Up My Power. This is if you really know that, okay, I'm done playing small now. I am making myself the priority, whether it's in your career, your relationships, your life. You want to gain laser focus on where do I want to grow? Where do I want to step into my power to live with confidence and purpose and joy And as you just said, let go of what no longer serves me, that old programming. And
Yeah.
then a 6-month program with me is called Stepping into My Next Level Power. This is when you really know I now want to invest in making my dreams come true, living my destiny, living that next level independence, success, energy in my professional and personal life.
That's beautiful, right? Because what you're doing is you're telling them the journey doesn't have to be scary. You can start small at first if you'd like. You can get into your next power and then your superpower sounds like, right? So so I love that. So stepping into your superpower in the third level. And that's because, we are very powerful beings. We are more powerful than we think we are. Right. I was watching a movie and the gentleman just said words and the people were like running to do whatever he said. It was like some gang movie or something. I don't even remember. But the whole point was is like this little scrawny little piece of nothing was controlling like an entire region. It was like I forgot what movie it was, but it was like controlling and I'm like, does anybody see this? Like literally this scrawny little nothing is controlling the entire like city or whatever. All on words, Anya. All on words. Because the other people were the ones doing the action. He was just doing the word part, right? And I say that to say some of us sometimes has a little something nothing inside of us trying to tell us what to do, you know and we have to realize that sometimes those old voices, those places are sometimes areas where we have to look at and say, what is this voice right now? What is this voice that's trying to control my whole world, and is this voice valid? And sometimes you have to just point that out in yourself. I have had to, like sometimes when I'm having like a tantrum, Anya, like a tantrum because I don't want to do something, whether it's, because I'm an entrepreneur. So you have to get up every day and work, right? That's what you got to do. And sometimes I'm having a little tantrum and like, I don't want to do this today, right? I'm like, who's showing up today? Who is that? Is that the 10-year-old that was, mistreated and never, talked to right and always like pushed to the side and always felt like a black sheep? Is she the one showing up today, or is the adult Neena at 52 years old showing up today? Who's showing up today at work? Right? Because you got to figure that out. Otherwise, the little bratty 10-year-old that didn't get her way, who's pissed off right now, is going to control your life. This is just me talking to myself, Anya. This is how I talk to me because I have to sometimes I gotta show up for me. If I don't show up for me, nobody's gonna show up for me, you know? And at first I was that woman that thought that was very selfish. And I was what you would call the people pleaser, right? Trying to do everything for people. But I love what you just said. And that's going to always sit with me when you said, aren't I people too? Aren't I people too? Right? You just said it as a kind of like a statement, like a fly by thing statement, but it sat with me because I agree with that, Anya. Aren't I people too? Right? And so the women who are listening to you right now, aren't you people too? Right? So if Anya's saying something that is jiving with you and you're like, whoa, so well, hold on a second. You know, if Anya's saying that I can work with her for 6 weeks and kind of just know the direction of where I am and where I want to be, and then I can step slowly into another level and another level. What the heck am I doing waiting again? Because Anya, I think that's what happens. We wait too long, right? We wait for tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. I've been waiting to lose weight on a Monday for about 15 years now, right? I'll start Monday. That was 15 years ago, Anya. I'm still waiting for the Monday, right? So I decided to just get a personal trainer, go on a coaching program, get my weight loss in order, period. And I think it started on a Wednesday. I didn't even wait for the Monday thing. But, most of the time, my whole life was like, I'll wait till Monday or I'll wait till Friday. And when you live your life like that, before you know it, Anya, and you probably know this by looking at Luca, right? You wake up and they're grown and they're not there anymore and they're living their lives. And you're like, where did 20 years go, 30 years go? What happened? Like this,
Yeah.
right? Like that. And so I want women who are listening to you right now to stop waiting and just do.
Wow.
Just do.
You just said so many important things.
I
Let
know.
me
I'm sorry.
on 3 things. First of all, the 10-year-old brat within you, never shout at her, never judge her. You have to be her safe haven.
Yeah. Yeah,
We've got to be
exactly.
really good to little Neena, little Anja. Always make them feel safe with us because they are still within us and they've got to feel
Hmm.
safe with us. Maybe they didn't feel safe elsewhere.
Right.
You have
Right.
to look after them. Secondly, when you talk about, that voice, whose voice is it, and talking us out of things, absolutely, that's where it all starts. Everything we create, everything we become, everything we experience starts in our minds. So I today have become hyper vigilant about every thought I think and every word I say. And the third thing is about words, because which you love too. We tend to use words as if they're just descriptive, but words have such incredible power
Yeah.
that with
Yeah.
your words you create, with your words you generate. So there is a phrase that I love to use in my trainings and my transformational mindset trainings. Your reality today is the result of the words you've used to describe it. So let me just say that
So
again. Your reality, so your
so good.
life,
So good.
the flavors of your life, the colors of your life depend on the words you use to talk about your life. It's a disaster. It's a nightmare. I can't take it. I'm sick and tired. Now, your brain doesn't care what words you use, but your brain will always give you what you're
Yes.
telling yourself to.
Yes. Yes.
So
So good.
really become hyper vigilant about what you allow to go through your head. And
Mm.
that will really transform how you talk to yourself. You will start talking more about what you do want to experience instead of all that you don't want. That's what creates a different tomorrow. Because if you think and talk about your tomorrow only based on what you live today, what you lived yesterday, well, guess what your tomorrow is going to look like? It's going to be another
Mhm.
Monday, and 15 years are going to pass.
Woo. Okay, okay, I found the mic.
Yeah,
Drop it.
that's right.
I found the mic because
Uh,
Anya, oh my God, you're dropping so much freaking good ass wisdom on here. I freaking love this conversation. I love it so much. I love that, right? Because I think that now, those of you who are listening and are like, even on that teeter totter place, like at some point, I want to encourage you to just go. Just make the leap, just go. Make the phone call, connect with Anya. Just go, right? Because I promise you that everything is scary when you first started. Like it was scary when you first started school. It was scary when you first started driving. It was scary when you first started the job, the career, whatever. It's also scary when you start to dig in and discover. But let me tell you the beauty that comes out of that, because before you know it, you are doing things that you've loved and always had in your heart and passion and never thought you could or gave yourself permission to do. Right, Anya? And I love that you're
Absolutely.
doing that. You're opening that space and giving them permission. Let's get to who you are, right, Anya? That's what that's what I feel you're doing, is giving them that permission to live in their power.
Absolutely. And here's the thing: growth and comfort don't go together. It
That's
is
right.
scary. So you can choose to stay just where you are, but if there is that little voice, that fire, that dream, that knowledge that there is more within you, stop waiting. Stop waiting. It's not going to get easier. Stop
Nope.
waiting. And as you said,
Nope.
Neena, the power that comes with just taking that first step, making that one decision, is in itself transformational. You're
It
giving
sure
yourself
is.
that permission, exactly like you said. And it's that one step that sets your life, your future, your destiny in motion.
It's so true. I mean, we could just look at our maybe educational careers or something, right? Like you went to kindergarten or whatever, and then you, before you knew it, we're graduating high school. And it was just one day at a time, one step at a time, one
Yes.
moment at a time,
Yes.
good and bad, good and bad. But I think good and bad sometimes are just labels we put on what's good and bad. Yes, there's tragedies and things that happen, and there's also things that I feel like are just things, are just a thing, and you just add a good or a bad to it, you know?
Mhm.
But I absolutely adore you, and I love what you're doing. I love your wisdom. I love your energy and your strength, Anya. And I I'm so glad that we had this conversation because
Yeah,
I
me
feel
too.
full. I feel full. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's
So
been my
beautiful.
pleasure, my privilege, and I could have talked for another 3 hours. So I
Yes, me
really look
too.
forward to connecting again down the line, Neena. And I
I hope
really
so.
appreciate the honor of speaking with you today.
Thank you. I feel the same. But before I let you go, I do want people to know how to reach you, follow you, see your content, whatever it is you have out there. So give us that information.
Wonderful. Well, my motto is be the key, because of course you are the key to open the doors to your future. So my website is bethekey.it for Italy. And you can find me on all the social media platforms. I'm on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and even on TikTok. So look
Love
out
it.
for me there. But you could definitely connect with me via my website. If you can't find me anywhere else, I'd love to connect with you all and really see what you thought of this and how I can help you move forward.
Yes, I absolutely love that. And I love the fact that the world has gotten to a place where you and I can connect through the
Yes,
waters, that, just like this. And so that means that people can connect with you if they're resonating with you anywhere in the world.
anywhere.
So, anywhere. Thank you so much for being here. I totally enjoyed this conversation. Thank
Oh,
you,
I do
Anya.
too.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. You're welcome. Guys, I told you, right? Another amazing human being. Absolutely love everything about Anya. I love her energy. I love what she's doing. I love how she's presenting the world to you and how she's helping you shift the way you think. So please, if this resonated with you and you know someone, maybe share, like, subscribe, comment, all that great stuff. And make sure that you follow her. I'm going to link her information below because you have to connect with humans like this. She is amazing. Love you guys so much. This is Neena Perez. Straight talk, no sugar added. Until next time.